How's it going, everybody? My name is FaZe Crypto, and today we are going to be talking about the possibilities that are in store for 7 selected cryptocurrencies that, according to popular assessment, are due to have some significant growth in the future. And backing up this data is essentially the different deals that are being struck involving these different technologies, the various developments that are happening, so forth, and innovations in the world of cryptocurrency. And these have basically been selected according to the potential that they have for 5x, even upwards to 50x gains that could be possible within this month. And I found that it would be important to start making content like this because people are always interested in seeing the different technologies that have potential for growth ahead of time. And I think that it's really productive to take into consideration the different technologies that I'm interested in for a number of particular reasons. So without any further ado, we'll be exploring these different cryptocurrencies. And unlike Warren Buffett, who apparently has a pretty negative opinion, he's been calling cryptocurrencies gambling and so forth. It is also important to remember I can't make any guarantees here. I mean, there is some, I know a lot of people like to joke about Warren Buffett, but he hasn't become a billionaire for no reason. He's very rich because he's smart with his money. And I would also remind everybody, I'm not a financial advisor. This is obviously not financial advice. I'm not your dad. I'm not telling you anything to do or not to do regarding these technologies. This is my assessment, and of course a lot of other people have similar parallel views to my own because I build my understanding of these technologies based off of trust and information that I've gathered from valid sources that I personally am comfortable with, and I'd suggest that everybody else do the same. It's always important to check your sources and so forth. But without any further ado, myself and the community that helps to collaborate with creating the content for this show, we've come up with this list of these 7 technologies that do have some significant potential moving forward, especially in this month. So definitely be on the lookout to see how these technologies begin to act in the future. And first on the list is, of course, Tron. Tron has had a lot of different developments that have been happening, but of course, over this short time span, we've seen Tron really acting pretty significantly. And it's important to take into consideration, especially when you consider the current climate of cryptocurrency is generally looking pretty optimistic, with a lot of upward possibility in the green. A lot of different technologies really taking advantage of the current state of affairs when it comes to the global market cap. And of course, this is definitely a really big assistance, a huge confidence builder in the mentality of people who are might be interested in investing in some of these different technologies. But it does have a really big impact on the potential that's in store for these technologies. And I think right now is sort of a perfect storm, in particular for Tron. What with all the different developments, I would say the mainnet, which is due for it's due to come up pretty soon, especially in the month of May. We'll be seeing some really big developments happening with Tron. So it's definitely a technology to keep an eye on for anybody who's interested in staying up to date regarding these technologies. And of course, moving right along, EOS is one of those technology already up 9.5% on the daily. And of course, EOS showing a similar upward trajectory. And we'll be seeing a lot of this similar graph across the board. It's in coordination with a lot of the events that have been happening in respect to the global conversation that's happening regarding cryptocurrencies, and seeing the general trends that have been happening regarding the interest involving these technologies. EOS is definitely one to keep an eye on because they're making a lot of forward-thinking innovations that are definitely going to be a central figure of attention when it comes to the global community of interested in cryptocurrencies and so forth. So definitely keep an eye on EOS. I think that it probably won't be $18 for very much longer, and a lot of people are starting to realize how big of a variable it's going to be playing in the future. When it comes to something like ADA, which is number 3 on the list, for potential to have 5x gains possibility, or perhaps even something as big as 50x gains, which would be amazing. But certainly we've seen in the past that Cardano has a definite possibility of going from a lower value to a higher value in a short amount of time. Certainly the world of cryptocurrency is known for the volatility that happens in both directions. So when it comes to Cardano, I mean, they're one of those technologies that's really a cryptocurrency of the future, as far as I can tell from my estimation. I would say that Bitcoin was one of the first of its kind, introducing the concept of digital currency and basically taking up the position as digital gold. Bitcoin was sort of that first introduction to the public consciousness. And then, of course, we had Ethereum with the innovation that is smart contracts. And now we're looking forward to seeing Cardano, which has attracted a lot of public attention in regards to its qualities of taking into consideration a lot of the fundamental variables that made the technologies that came before it so successful, and now really taking us into the future. So if not in the month of May, I think certainly within the year of 2018, we can see some real substantial activity that will be happening regarding Cardano as they continue to develop. And of course, my analysis of these technologies is fundamentally data-driven. I find that it's important to really analyze a bunch of different variables, including the team that's behind these technologies, and I'd recommend that everybody else do the same. I think that it's important to stay up to date regarding the future of these things, because when it comes to cryptocurrency, knowledge is definitely power. And the next one on the list is, of course, NEO. I put NEO on the list because you really can't argue against the smart economy, and of course China being a global superpower, getting their foot in the door when it comes to cryptocurrencies. They're going to be a huge player on the international stage, and when it comes to the nature of cryptocurrencies and where we're moving forward in the future, NEO is substantially building themselves up in a way and positioning themselves in a way that I think is going to be really key. So paying attention to NEO is definitely going to pay off. I would say in the long run, NEO is currently in that number 11 position as it currently stands, but it is my belief that NEO will probably find itself within the top 5 in the near future. I mean, NEO has obviously been called the Chinese Ethereum for good reasons, and there's a lot of different fundamental things that come into consideration when involving this technology, but it's definitely one that I would recommend paying attention to. I would say that NEO is definitely in the works to be really a key conversation in the community as we continue to move forward. And of course, I've spoken before about Ripple, but Ripple definitely is one of those technologies that is becoming a household name. Of course, a lot of these technologies are already important when it comes to the talks that happen involving the world of cryptocurrency and so forth, but Ripple is expanding beyond that. They're pretty much, well, it's been said multiple times that Ripple is the establishment cryptocurrency, and that works in its favor. And of course, there's people who are going to have opinions on all sides of the fence, but I would say that moving forward, having the establishment involved with a technology like Ripple is definitely going to play to its favor, because of course the establishment isn't going anywhere, and we're going to see this becoming a more fundamental variable moving forward. So there's a lot to be expected in regards to this technology. And I think especially in the month of May, we're really looking forward to seeing a lot of different developments happening along the line involving how these different deals that are being struck across the board with a lot of these household names, and how it's going to be influencing the way that the public it has their own opinion set up regarding Ripple. So definitely a lot of exciting things happening in regards to that, and I'm definitely excited in seeing the potential for very substantial gains that are in the works for Ripple. Now, of course, I'm not promising anything. I mean, I'm going to say, remember Warren Buffett. Remember the fact that I would always say that it's important to do your own research, and of course have that old grandpa way of holding on, and of course holding on for dear life, and all those different fun to say things. So moving right along, the next one is Ethereum, of course. How could we ignore Ethereum? Now, I would say putting it on the list of these technologies that has the potential to see some really substantial gains. I would say that Ethereum is definitely on the list for obvious reasons. And yeah, moving forward, I think the smart contracts and the whole variety of things that are being built in that respect are going to be playing a huge role moving forward. And I think we can expect a lot of big things for Ethereum moving forward. I think, of course, and number 7 on the list, remember this list is in no particular order, but I would say Nucleus Vision. We're really waiting to see a lot of potential unfolding in regards to what Nucleus Vision has awaiting us. Of course, Nucleus Vision has been called one of those technologies that has the potential to really be a global currency. And I would say, in the light of the Internet of Things and all the different developments that are happening across the board, you really have to take into consideration how big of a paradigm shift we're going through right now, with modern everyday appliances becoming smart devices, and how this sort of technology can be leveraged in a really important way. You have to understand that people have their smartphones with them wherever they go, and this can be leveraged in terms of retail outlets can basically leverage the consumer data that's in everybody's pockets and work it towards a direction that pretty much puts the power of data back into the hands of the consumer, and can leverage that through membership programs and so forth. And Nucleus Vision is right at the forefront of all that, and these things are very developing circumstances that are going to be playing a huge role in the development long term, certainly for cryptocurrency. And seeing a technology like Nucleus Vision positioning themselves in this fundamental way, it's definitely really exciting moving forward. So I'm really excited about seeing the potential that's in store for Nucleus Vision. Really, when you're talking about 5x potential, even 50x potential, Nucleus Vision is definitely one of those names that comes to the surface, and I'm certainly excited to be seeing the developments that are possible for Nucleus Vision. So that's my list of these top 7, and of course you guys should probably check out my friend here, Chronic Crypto. He actually created his own list of top 5 altcoins that he believes have potential for really significant gains. So I'll actually be including a link to his video down in the description below, so that we can keep the conversation going and so forth. Remember, the whole purpose of this content is for discussion purposes. So I'd like to say, I'll be including a link to that video. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about the Warren Buffett situation, I'll be including a link to this great video by the CRYPTOTWINS, who go into detail discussing what basically Warren Buffett means by these various claims and so forth. And it is definitely interesting to be seeing how these old billionaires are interacting with this new paradigm of cryptocurrency. And of course, I have a lot of respect for Warren Buffett. I know people like to make jokes about him, but I'd say that he isn't a billionaire for no reason. And he might be old, and and of course he might not entirely trust cryptocurrency. But I'm personally a person who's really looking forward to seeing cryptocurrency. But Warren Buffett's not dumb. He's definitely understands how big cryptocurrencies has the potential to be in the future. But of course, course, this is just my opinion. This whole video is just my opinion. Remember, I'm not your dad. This video is just educational purposes, remember. And if you're interested in interacting with me and as far as the conversation goes, you guys could follow me on my Twitter. That's at CryptoTuber, and I'll actually be including a link to my Twitter down in the description below. And I would actually recommend that you go and follow all these different technologies. They all have their own Twitter. Tron, you can follow the founder Justin Sun on Twitter, and of course EOS. All you can pretty much find the Twitter for all these different. Make sure it's verified. But of course, yeah, you can find these Twitters just by going to CoinMarketCap and clicking that little social tab right there, and it should bring you to pretty valid sources for information. And if you're not already on Twitter, I always say this, you should probably get on there because it's a really great resource, especially in terms of cryptocurrency. And you can come and send me memes or send me information, all that good stuff. And yeah, it's awesome to see how this community has been growing across these different social media platforms. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this little list I compiled for you. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Oh yeah, also remember to subscribe to the channel.